back to Change for Life. Today it's spring, it's beautiful, it's almost spring, so we're going to get started early on some seeds this year, and I'm going to show you what we can start right now here in the Northwest. We got anything from tomatoes. A lot of tomato plants you can start indoors if you have a greenhouse to be perfect. Otherwise you got to wait until it warms up a little bit. But I always say 6 to 8 weeks indoors. We also got jalapenos we're going to be planting today. And they say you can start these really early and again indoors. Otherwise you have to wait till outdoors until things warm up till so much time after the last frost. And I got a lot of bell peppers that I'm also going to start today. Sweet banana peppers, different varieties there. We're also going to plant some cauliflower today as well. And I got some Brussels sprouts. Those can be planted now indoors. And what is this one? I mean, you can do it in March and April, it says, so yeah, so from spring to early summer, and yeah. But as far as these go, a lot of things I start indoors in a little greenhouse or something, or just even take a bottle, a plastic bottle or a water bottle, and cut the bottom off, and you stick those over the top. If you have to plant outdoor, there's a lot of various options. I've built greenhouses on the fly just with some 2x4s and get a roll of that 3 or 6 mil plastic and staple it on over. Just build a A-frame down to the ground. Something to protect your plants from, to protect them when in the early stages of just starting your seeds. You know, it works perfect. That's the thing about, you know, living on a budget and everything, or in circumstantial situations, is to be able to adapt and adapt to your situations, you know, and just improvise. And so for me, last year, just coming in this house, I just moved in. I didn't have everything set up, so I was like, well, I really want a garden, so I'm going to improvise, and I just built me an A-frame and threw the plastic over. I've done it many other times as well. And I've also used plastic bottles to protect my early start plants. And because we have cats here, I'm going to plant some cat grass and catnip for my cats. And they said the sunflowers you can plant right now, which will also be started indoors. And I'm going to use the sunflowers around the edge of my lawn for a privacy fence of their own. And they're really beautiful plants, and they produce, I've grown them where I've gotten the heads on them about this big, and they're a really beautiful plant. They get really tall and they're really neat. Also spinach, where I'm going to be planting spinach today as well. And I try to grow, if I can, heirloom varieties. And a lot of people have said to me, you know, they don't know verbatim what heirloom means. And heirloom means that it's produced the same plant at least 50 years or better at a minimum. And so if that plant has stayed steady for 50 years, if not more, that's an heirloom. And the thing I'm trying to get away from is hybrids. Hybrids are two different types of variations of a plant, genetically crossed, and sometimes you can't, well, not sometimes, you can't keep the seeds to them particularly, because then you'll get all these random varieties that pop up that might affect another crop you have, if you're going to seed collecting, that is. I mean, if you're just growing it for the fruit, you might be okay to get away with, but I would never let it go to seed. Absolutely not. And anything that's GMO as well, anything that's not genetically modified and can come from some of those big corp companies, I wouldn't do it. So if you can, go back to some of the heirloom, because the seeds that we have now, we only have maybe about 10% of seed since 100 years ago. I mean, we used to have so many more heirloom varieties, and And we've lost that over time. It wasn't too long ago I watched a documentary called Seeds. So if you get a chance to watch it, it's a very good documentary, and it's talks about seed varieties that we've lost and things. So I mean, getting back to a lot more abundant, you know, varieties and growing. And growing in general is a very enthusiastic and fulfilling thing to be able to do. So now I'm going to lay out some pots here, and we're going to get dirty a little bit. You know what's also I've learned about tomato plants over the time experimenting with them is that they're perennial. Well, a lot of people don't know that they're perennial. So I mean, once the growing season outside is ended, and if you have them in a pot, you can, not that everybody would, but you can bring them indoors and continue the growing season year round. I've done it. And here I just buy some generic starter seed soil. I mean, it's fairly inexpensive to be able to get. And you go to your local nursery or a store and just get us some starter mix. It's all broken down the way you need to. You don't have to worry about anything compromising, you know, like bacteria or anything. Everything's sterile when it comes out of there. At least it's supposed to be, isn't it? I know I have gloves out there, but they're overrated. Nothing like digging your hands in there. I bet you some will say, oh, you're contaminating, you know, a sterile soil. You know, survival of the fittest, I suppose. The plants ain't gonna survive, because I'm gonna be handling everything quite a bit. I think we'll be just fine. Alright, well, what do we want to plant first? Well, one thing I didn't mention is broccoli. I think we could start broccoli too, because I actually kept some seeds from a plant I did last year, and got a lot of production out of it. So I might be planting those pretty soon as well, if not in the next 2 weeks. So just stay tuned in the next 2 weeks, and we'll be I'll be out here again. Where did I say? Oh, right there. All right. I just bought these type. They're Abe Lincoln, and they're an heirloom. So, like I said, I'm trying to stay with heirloom if I can. And some people say, you know, you can pre-water your soil before you stick the seeds in it. Me, I just say, you know, lightly pack it down, then stick your seed in, then water. So I only do maybe 2 to 3 seeds per pot. Not a whole lot, because I really don't have any seeds that never sprout, and sometimes I'll get too many in there. See, and I just stick them on top. And I just sit there, and I just stick them right on top, and I take them and I just push them down a little bit, and I just lightly cover over them, and then I'll water. And I'm going to start a few of these here, because this year I want to be able to plant enough tomatoes where I can make sauces. So we like sauces and salsas. We do a lot with tomatoes in this house. And so I definitely want a lot of tomatoes, because that's what we, and you know, and that's the thing, when you go to planting, plant what you eat. Unless you're going to be selling plants or selling produce, you know, I mean, there's really no reason to plant a bunch of stuff you ain't going to eat. Unless you like the beauty of it or just fun planting, there's no reason you can't either. But I plant what we eat, you know, especially if you have limited space, you know, and just plant what you eat, or plant on what you maybe plan on canning, you know. Like, I'm going to make salsa, so I'm going to plant tomatoes, jalapenos, onions, anything that will go into that salsa, just a salsa mix. Or I'm going to plant broccoli, because we eat a lot of broccoli, steamed broccoli in this house. And we like Brussels sprouts, so therefore so on and so on, you know. Or soups. You know, there's certain things that go in soups. You know, plant anything that goes in that soup. You know, and then can your soup. Because sometimes when you make your homemade soups and stuff, it can't beat what you buy in the can. You know, it doesn't. You can't beat it once you make it at home. Don't believe me? All right. When you store your seeds, I put it in this container here, and I also put them in just these little sandwich baggies. And I throw a couple oxygen absorbers in there just to keep the moisture out of your seeds. It's very important. If you want to try to preserve your seeds as long as you can, or for other growing times, you want to keep them cool in a cool, dry place. I guess I'm going to set these over in the corner. Oh yeah, don't forget to mark them. Then you'd be like, what's growing? I don't know, something. Now I got some other tomatoes here. It's called Tomato Bush Ace 55, and they're also heirlooms. So I'm also going to put some of those. And I want to add at the end of your growing season and stuff, or whichever. Sometimes I let a couple plants go to seed so I can harvest the seeds, because there might be a point in time in the world the way it is right now that there might not be a chance that you can get seeds. There's a lot of controversial stuff going on in this world, we all know, and so it'd be smart to learn how to collect seeds as well. So you find an heirloom variety you like, or whichever, or grow just to collect seeds, by all means. Do that, because it'll be a very good strategy. Because when I'm always preparing or doing things that I enjoy, I also try to think of plan A, B, C, and D. Different contingencies that I can fall back on in worst case scenarios. Someday that you might need to rely on it. So one of those things, again, that I always learn to improvise and be prepared in different ways, and learn skills that have been lost over time. Now once we've got them all planted, now we can water them. Simple as that. And we'll just wait for them to germinate. Just look on the back of your seed package, and everything should tell you about how many days to germinate. But like I said, 2 weeks out after planting these, or even a week out, just reevaluate what other seeds you have to plant, so everything can be in a system of when it sprouts. Or even if you want to plant keep a growing season going with a type of seed, and say, oh, plant every 2 weeks. That way one plant matures and you have another one falling behind it as it cycles. So you can get the most out of a growing season you can. Now I'm going to go plant these spinach directly in a bigger pot, so come with me. So this pot's been sitting all winter, and this is usually where I like to do my spinach. So I got to get all the weeds out of it here and turn it back up. Looks like my chickens have helped do some of the weeding. But I just spread them here evenly, and I just come out and harvest them periodically and get a few leaves off when we're going to have salad, or make taco salad, or put it on a burger, who knows. I like the spinach definitely more as an alternative versus a iceberg lettuce. No knock on iceberg, but it seems so much more dense nutrients when it comes to spinach. kids love it, so why not? I have a plum tree nearby, and I get so many seeds in here from that as well. I'm just going to break it up a little bit with my hands. You guys see I had my old pressed seed pods in there from last time when I started the spinach, but this time, instead of wasting those little discs, soil disc, I'm just going to turn this up and plant it directly in here. Different seeds. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Alright. So I guess if I just have to get it. I even have worms in here, so worms help the growing process. Don't get any ideas there. There's nothing in here for you. Not anymore. It's all gone. All gone. All gone. All gone. Yeah, just break that all up. Alright. Let's take these spinach here and just sprinkle it randomly. Okay, that's more than enough, I'm sure. Alright, now those can be watered as well. So, thanks for joining me today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you're liking what you watch. And I'm going to be bringing a lot more content than just gardening and chickens and homestead and stuff. But every week I'm going to be presenting a tool of the week, a tool that lives up to my specifications or the things that I think it has so many utilizations and stuff. So stay tuned for that. I'm also going to be bringing more content as well as anything as it pertains to off-grid, backpacking, homesteading, health, as far as like getting in shape and stuff like that. Anything, be having coffee time and stuff like that. So stay tuned. I'm going to be bringing so much more, and you'll be surprised. It's going to be a pretty broad spectrum of things to live in that free life. Thanks for watching, and you too can be changed for life.